A little lighter already of what you've discovered? If not, I'll explain why you should. How marvelous! I don't have to, you don't have to try to find a sense of security in building up a lot of friends, or a domestic circle, or lots of money, or a promotion in your career. Or you don't have to try to find a sense of security in tomorrow by filling your mind with books, with ideas, with philosophies, with ordinary religions. You don't have to stuff your mind and hope that maybe 1 or 2 or 10 thoughts that you stuff into your mind will give you a certain platform of solidity. How nice. You don't have to do anything to make your future secure. You just have to understand something. And what you can understand right now, while we're discussing this, what you can understand right now, you can drop your strain and pain toward the future anytime you want. So why don't you do it now? Why don't you just drop it? Go ahead, you can, right now. You need never again be concerned about anything 1 second or 20 years from now. I am telling you, you can relax wherever you are now, watching and listening. You can relax and know where you are, and you can be quite calm. And then you can know that when you are in this state, which human beings call time, call minutes and hours and days and years, you can understand that when you were living in that area, that you can live quietly and peacefully in them because they're not a threat to you. Because this new nature that you found after all this hard work we're talking about, this new nature that you found doesn't live in time at all. You know where it lives? It lives in a beautiful, timeless state in which there's no anxiety over the future because there is no future. Think of the term truth with a capital T. Not ordinary truths of this world. It's a truth that a ball will roll downhill. We're talking about higher truths, spiritual truths. Think of the term truth. It has no time in it at all. It has an existence in it which is right now. No seconds, no hours, nothing to be concerned with. Now, if you can understand your time state in which you think about the past and think about how you are going to change things tomorrow, if you think correctly toward it, you will see there is no need to do any thinking with anxiety whatever. You can be practical. You know that you might have to take a trip tomorrow, so you prepare for that. We're not obviously talking about that because this is where you do live in time. I'm talking about you living in truth, in a reality which is a timeless state. Therefore, what is there to be concerned about? There's nothing to be concerned about because there is no, listen to this. There's nothing to be concerned about because there is no one to be concerned over. Do you understand, as you're watching and listening right now, do you understand that you don't know who you are? Do you understand that if I ask you who you are, you'll get confused? You won't know how to answer the question? Well, let's try it. Let's see what happened. Who are you? Tell me who you are. See what that did? That activated a lot of thoughts, isn't it? And a lot of nervousness, too. You had to think for a minute to answer the question, who am I? And then you answered with the usual, that you're an American, or you're male, or you're an engineer, or whatever. That's not you. The way you answered simply aroused thoughts about you. And when you arouse thoughts about you, you arouse nervousness and you arouse concern. You could drop it all right now, because that's not you. Why don't you? Why don't you stop identifying yourself as something in time so that you can realize something that is timeless, something that has no concern at all what's going to happen to it, because you know absolutely by the Spirit inside of you that nothing bad, nothing wrong can happen to you, because nothing wrong can happen to truth, and that is the state that you're living in. I have given it to you. You have heard it. Now what are you going to do? I'll ask you another question. What are you going to do with what you've heard so far? You're not quite sure, are you? Oh, not sure at all. What you can do is understand one thing so completely that a change will take place inside of you. And what you're going to understand is you don't understand anything at all. How many of you know what the word arrogance means? You know what it is, don't you? Do you understand that humanity lives in arrogance? And let's look at some of the ingredients of that. I mentioned the word pretenseful a few minutes ago. Can you see the pretense in an arrogant man? Pretending that he's strong, pretending that he's knowledgeable, the poor, pathetic man, the poor, pathetic, arrogant, angry man, pretending that he knows where he's going. He doesn't know where he's going, but his arrogance is the front to try to convince you, and especially trying to convince himself, that he's on his way, that he's going places, that all is well. Oh, I'll tell you, that man cries a lot at night when he's all alone, when people aren't watching his face, just like you do. You cry a lot, don't you? It's so unnecessary. Why do you think we're meeting here? To point certain things out to you, that you're doing things all wrong, and you don't have to do things all wrong. There it is. You're doing things all wrong and you don't have to. Now, isn't that nice to know? Something required, though. Let's see if we can illustrate it a little bit. Here's a man taking a trip down a highway, and he wants us to reach a certain destination. And on he walks and walks and walks. And he suddenly looks around and he finds he's lost. Somehow he's got off the main highway to his destination, and he's off in the wilderness, tripping over rocks and bushes. And he says, I'm lost. So he comes back to the highway, finds his way back, and he sees a man there, and he says, how do I get where I'm going? I imagine this is a highway. How do I continue down it? Am I on the right highway? Ask all kind of questions. And the man says, well, here's what you have to do. You go, yeah, you're okay. Go down the highway and you make a left turn down here. Then you go uphill. Then you go downhill. Then you go to the left and the right. The man gives him the directions, and the lost man nods his head, thank you, and he goes on his way. 10 minutes later, he's lost again. Now he's off on the other side of the road. He's stumbling around in the sand out there. He sees a man, another man, he says, I'm lost, can you tell me how to travel? The man says, yes, go down here, go to the left, go right, go up and down. The man says, thank you, and he goes on down, lost again. How many times today were you lost? You know,